Let me know how my audio is. Running with some new internet here, so I wanted to test it out. And yeah, just let me know how my audio, what the video looks like. And the boys have been running this YouTube channel with the absolutely most despicable internet connection known to man. Much similar to the first camera they ever started with. They started with a little $20 knockoff GoPro camera, which is kind of funny. But besides it works. Okay, does audio sound good? I didn't plug in an external mic or anything, so I just wanted to see how everything is sounding and see what oh man, the video looks really clear. Audio and video fine. Country homestead preacher, Antonia. What that? I don't know what happened there. Hopefully you'll send me a text message. So yeah.
Oh, where is it? Milk console?
Yeah. Thanks, bud. It was, yeah, buffered because I got a phone call, and Texas mom and the boys are out in the yeah, so this will be interesting. So it did buffer, but the reason it buffered is because and so the let's see here. Of course I start this and now my phone's just going to keep ringing. So I'm going to try. I just want to run a test run here for like 5 minutes. So if it knocks out, it's because I keep having an incoming phone call. I'm trying to I want to test the video and the audio. All right. Thanks, bud. Okay. Hold on a second, y'all. I just need to use my phone real quick. Always multi. All right. Let's really try this for real this time. Maybe my phone. I'm just really curious. I want to tell you this little internet story deal. And I had some people on here. I know everybody dropped off, but there we go. We're back and we should not be disturbed. I didn't put this thing on Do Not Disturb though, but we shouldn't be disturbed. We're back. All right. And I wanted to tell you, you know, the boys have been doing this channel with a disgustingly terrible internet service provider that we super overpay for. It's country internet and it's kind of DSL. So they charge us for a landline that we do not use. And then they charge us for like a deplorable DSL speed. And we pay the lowest bracket because it's terrible. So we, James was watching, I think it was Living Traditions. He's been doing some research and we found this Nomad cellular internet. And Kevin and Sarah at Living Traditions have had the same problem with their internet. And they started using Nomad and it works really great. So we checked with Nomad and we signed up with them and it's very expensive. The router was like $200 and then the service was $150 a month. And, you know, now that we have the website and the boys are putting a lot of time and effort in that and we want to service our subscribers and our customers, we just have to make the investment into it because the biggest challenge, yes, we are in Texas. The biggest challenge is the internet always cutting in and out, and it makes it very impossible for them to process orders, to return emails. It's just terrible internet, and we've been paying $70 a month for just despicable internet, and they're always having to come out and work on it and fix it. They never give us a credit, and then just this last time, they were like, oh, well, y'all don't have to pay for a phone line if you're not using it. And I'm like, I complain about that every time I submit a work ticket on this thing. So we wanted to try this Nomad internet. It's expensive, but it was supposed to be fast. It was supposed to be 5G and all that good stuff. And the picture, if it's not clear on your end, it could be on your end because it's super clear on my end. Oh, I got you. Yeah, we're the Texas boys. We're in Texas. We're in Northeast Texas. We're behind the pine curtain. So thanks for being a first time live streamer. We used to live stream almost every week. And now with everything we got going on, it's just impossible. Right now, some of the boys are out with Texas Mom, of course, going to the hardware store and to the lumber store to get stuff for a project because that's literally what we do every day. And while we can anyway. And so we found this Nomad and super excited. We 2-day shipped this thing. Well, we get this super Sparkomatic cheesy cellular router that's 4G. And the thing is we knew, according to the coverage maps, we had great 5G T-Mobile service. So this was a T-Mobile router. And we get it, and it's 4G. I hook it up, and the connection's trash. The connection is equivalent to the garbage local Rockin' Twigs internet that we've had. So I got to thinking, I'm like, why don't I just cut out the middleman, and I'll contact T-Mobile. So I contact T-Mobile, and they said, oh, yeah, we got this. What are you paying now for your internet? And we got this mobile jetpack, and it'll be 100 megs a month. And I'm like, we probably wouldn't fully utilize 100 megs a month. That should work. And it'll be $50. So I was talking to somebody in Florida. They couldn't find the jetpack. Nobody has it in stock. We started calling around locally. We found Heroic Prepper. Good to have you, Heroic Prepper. Hey, Mauer family, I saw you. I'm going to try to answer all these questions too. Mark Edwards, I see you on there, bro. And how's everything in France? So we found a local T-Mobile store that had the jetpack, so we would drive straight there. It was like almost 8 o'clock, and I'm like, man, if I can resolve this issue. So we're sitting there talking to the guys, and they're telling me, and it's $50 a month, and this jetpack router is $300, but if you buy it right now, we'll split it with you over 24 months and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, it's a great deal. It was a stellar deal compared to the Nomad deal. Well, we kept talking to them. They're like, oh, well, if you don't want it to be mobile, why don't you just get our T-Mobile home internet? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Sounds good. So it's this tower deal. It's $50 a month. It's unlimited. Now, here's the thing. This is what's super wild. We only have 2 bars on this thing. They let me know in advance. They said, look, they're working on that local tower, so it's not going to be like a max signal. So right now we only have 2 bars, and we're down in this little dip. And if we go in the cow pasture across the street, it'll be off the charts, which is hilarious too. But we're running on 2 bars, and the performance is 6 times what we were getting on Rocks and Twigs internet. And I'm paying $50 a month instead of $70 a month, and it actually works. And there is no choking or throttling. If we have both phones, and the PC editing and everything, nothing slows down, nothing chokes up. Every time I run a ping test, it works. So if y'all, well, I don't know how many YouTubers are on here, but this cellular internet, we signed up for Elon Musk. We signed up for Starlink or whatever, but whatever. Elon can go pound dirt. He'll probably be the next selection 2024 because he was just Time Man of the Year, and he has been complaining about the government while having while the rocket propaganda scam thing is Daniel Flowers has multiple military industrial complex contracts, like multi-billion-dollar contracts. So I find it interesting. But so we're rolling with T-Mobile home internet, $50 a month to month, no contract, and they're not even charging me for the modem. It's part of the service, $50 and 2 bars. It's unlimited, not not there's no, supposedly it doesn't throttle and all that stuff. And at 2 bars, we get 6 times the performance of our $70 a month DSL. So we're super excited. So I wanted to run this test. I got a new phone and I figured I'd run this and I would run the iPad so I could see the chat. And so I got the chat rolling, and there's one pesky fly left here in all the state of Texas after the cold weather we got. And it's like a cow fly, and it wants to land on my face. And so we're rolling with this new internet. Now, what that means is it's going to help us better service and manage the website, better respond to our subscribers and customers to the website. It's going to help us process our orders faster. And we really appreciate everybody's patience with the orders. You know, we have an enormous amount of stuff going on, and it takes us a while sometimes to process stuff. Inventory, you know, with the currently new normal, that the way the world's apparently going to be, it's very hard to keep inventory and do all that stuff. So that's the challenge. So we're rolling with the punches here, y'all. But we have a super ton of awesome, cool stuff happening on the homestead, and we're going to do a video about it. But not everybody watches the lives, and I wanted to run this test, so I'm going to spill the beans on some of this new cool stuff that's going on. Very, very good friends of ours. He has he's been forced to, well, he's decided to change. Yeah, well, he has decided to become a full-time beekeeper. So he asked me if he could winter his bees down here. And I said, absolutely. You know, God's blessed us with all this dirt. And we have an inordinate amount of fruit trees, and it'll be mutually beneficial. So I would absolutely do that. So yesterday, him and his son made a bee run, and they dropped off, I think 60 hives on this first run. So we have bees on the homestead. Now, that means a couple different things. We're going to be growing bees. And there's actually going to be a whole lot of bees because he wants to grow a commercial operation. So there's going to be, between our 3 properties, we're probably going to spread the bees out. But the other thing is we're going to have organic honey. You know, we practice organic principles. You know how the government wants to control everything. You can't say that it's organic unless, you know, you have them put their fake stamp on it or whatever. But this honey is raised with organic practices. And so we're going to offer honey that's organically grown on our website. So that's cool. Keep an eye out for that. That'll should be happening in like the next 2 weeks. One of the big things, the thing that I'm most excited about is the cuttings. Our cutting sale is on. That will go live. It should go live today. They decided to do this other project. They were supposed to be working on that. They were working on it, but we can start taking cuttings now. We're going to take cuttings fresh. So we're going to have fig cuttings, mulberry cuttings, and elderberry cuttings. And elderberry is absolutely the easiest thing in the world to grow. You really can't even not root a elderberry cutting wrong. And I can do a video on that. Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, has a great video on that. It's called "You Stab It in the Ground and You Roll Out." I mean, and you know, elderberry will continue to grow kind of like a vine. So we're gonna have elderberry cuttings, which is great for your immune system. So I encourage everybody, if you're not growing elderberry, grow it in a pot. Okay. If you don't have any land, grow it in a pot. I don't care. And you need elderberries. Mulberries, mulberry leaves are very high in quercetin or quercetin, however you want to say it. So we're going to have mulberry cuttings, and all the mulberry cuttings, I got 3 mature trees, and they're all gonna be cold hardy. So if you're up north, you can still propagate our mulberry cuttings, and you will get mulberries. And this is our 3rd year getting mulberries out of all 3 or 4 of these trees. I'm gonna be able to take an enormous amount of cuttings, mulberries, and then we're gonna have fig cuttings. And I have a lot of different varieties. If you're not a fig nerd like me, I might not get technical and do this fly. This fly is going to harass me, y'all, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. You just got the notification. Well, welcome aboard. Day late and a dollar short. Now you're okay. You're okay. This fly is going to land right on my face. I'm going to be feeling like the 44th president, y'all, when this fly lands on my face like a corpse. All right, the 44th selection. There's 2 of them out here. I don't know if the camera is crisp enough where you can actually see that. Look at this, man. It's like I feel like a turd, y'all. All right. Hey, keep your opinions to yourself. I know a lot of people are like, well, he is a turd. Oh. All right. How do you like my fly swatter? All right. Oh, yo, it's T-Mobile, man. You know, check to see what T-Mobile, check. They have very detailed coverage maps of your area. So it's T-Mobile, and it's T-Mobile home internet, and you can get it at any T-Mobile store. And it's $50 a month, and it's unlimited, not capped. And like I'm telling you, we have 2 bars, and it is so far and away superior to what we had. It's like, this is like a celebratory live stream. And now, like, we can update the website, and we can like respond to emails. Our old internet, which is a hard wire, it would like cut in. Okay, so I'll tell you what our numbers are. So with our old DSL that we've had since we started, that was 10 megs down and a half to 1 meg up. So now you understand, with trying to upload a video, especially a longer video in high def and all that, and 4K and everything, it would literally take like 12 to 20 hours. And so we had a couple different workarounds for that. I would put it on a jump drive and take it to the office or something. But now with 2 bars, we have 30 to 40 down, and we have 3 to 5 up. And 3 to 5 up, you can upload a 15-minute video in like an hour, max 2. So, and there's no type of bandwidth choking, regardless if other people are utilizing the Wi-Fi. So we can now upload a video, and it'll be up in 1 or 2 hours, regardless of homeschool stuff going on, website stuff going on. Like, we'll be able to do our normal thing and upload a video with no, like before with our piece of trash rocks and sticks internet. If you did anything on the internet while you were trying to do anything else, everything would die. It was so despicably terrible. And it was crazy expensive for the super trash connection that we had. So super excited about this. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's better. And it's not even remotely, it's not even half of its full potential. So once they finish upgrading this tower, if this thing goes 5 bars, it's going to scream. I mean, it's going to scream. It'll probably be like 100 down and 50 up or something like that. But right now we're ecstatic about 30 down and 5 up. So, Rip, how y'all doing? So we're going to have the cuttings. The cuttings are live. They'll be live. If they're not already live, I don't know if I know the boys are working on it. They will be live by Monday. So we get tons of emails about the cuttings, and people think we missed our cuttings. And but no, we're taking the cuttings now. Everything's finally to sleep where we can take the cuttings and we can ship them out. I'll be putting some videos up on how to propagate. We've already filmed those. So we'll give you some there's lots of different ways to do it, and there's lots of different great videos already out there. The fig pop method is one of the best methods. that I've used. But here's the other thing about cuttings, y'all. You can get your cuttings, put them in your crisper tray in your refrigerator. Just put them in your refrigerator. Make sure they're just not too damp. You don't want them to be too damp because they'll grow mold and fungus on them or whatever. And you can just keep them jokers in the refrigerator till the spring. And then if you want to propagate them outside, the advantage of rooting your cuttings in the spring is, and many people do this. One, the cuttings aren't available in the spring. Okay. So you buy them in the fall and the winter. You wait till spring because if you're rooting cuttings outside, you're not going to have to worry about things like fungal gnats, and you're going to be able to move in and out of direct sun. So you're going to have sun. There's just a lot of advantages of waiting. If you haven't been doing it a long time, you're going to have a much higher success rate if you're propagating outside, if you haven't done it before. This is going to be the least amount of propagating I'm doing over winter, and because the fungal gnats will drive you nuts. Okay. Now is the perfect time to take elderberry cuttings. Perfect time. Take them. And if you're South Mississippi, you can take them and put them in the ground right now. And in the spring, you'll start to see new shoots and everything. So now's the time to take the cuttings. And if you're South Mississippi, now's the time to just go right on at it. Because if you're South Mississippi, you're probably 9A. So you're going to be fine all the way through. I'm a little bit envious of you, Rip. Just saying. I would like to do more tropical fruit, but just the 8A and the potential snowpocalypse and everything. Yeah, no, you'll be good. You'll be great. Yeah, and you'll be able to. So if you're 9A or whatever, you'll be able to stick them right in a pot and keep them outside, keep them in indirect sun, and they'll be going bonkers by springtime. Elderberry grows like a bush, but elderberry, if you've ever grown blackberries, it's very similar in the way that it grows. And the very interesting thing is that elderberry, mulberry, and figs are all in the same family. They're all very similar. So they're all in the same. I'm not a botanist, so I forget the 8B. Yeah, 8B, you're good. 8B is kind of like Houston area, so you'll be fine. One thing, if you want to put them in, if you want to keep them outside and propagate them, if you're doing a pot or right in the ground, just put them in the ground and heavy mulch them, and you will be absolutely awesome. And then when you go in the spring, when you move the mulch off, you're gonna see green shoots and everything going on. I have a moringa tree in the back, and I clipped it and mulched it. So we're gonna see. I think it's gonna make it. I've been trying to grow moringa outside for like 3 years now, and so I think I'm gonna be successful. I know David the Good was schooling me on it, so I love David the Good channel. I got a fig tree for David the Good that I'm going to send him. So let's see. What are some questions? 401k discussion. Yeah, I don't think it's an accident or a coincidental. Teal House Farm. How's Teal House Farm doing? It's good to have you on. This is like the good old days, when we used to stream, like way, way back in the day. And it's very interesting that I felt the Lord pushing me to build infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, I mean like food infrastructure. And as soon as we got dirt here, I felt this. I knew I have a financial planning background, 11 years as a financial planner, and after experiencing all the fiat chicanery with all the synthetic derivative type quote unquote investments, and I'm not hating on crypto or whatever. I'm not saying that there's a legitimate use for it, but take the total market cap of that crypto market and overlay it on all the other markets and the loan market, and add up the numbers. And how come nobody's ever done that? And what if it's over whatever the next thing after 100 trillion is, which I would almost guarantee you that it is. And how do you take the entire wealth of the entire world, right? And how are all these supposed monetary markets larger than all of the wealth available? Which is why with this 2030 and this new green economy, that is why they're trying to monetize the bioactivity in your soil, and then they're going to take your social credit score and turn your soil off. Mr. Soulless, how in the world are you, sir? This is the good old days. Mr. Soulless, good to hear from you. Lost the video, still hear the audio. I think my, did anybody else lose the video? Because I have no interruptions here. Propagating elderberry. Elderberry are very cold hardy. The easiest way would be to wait till spring is the easiest way. You can do it now. You can propagate it inside. No problem. Super cold hardy. Super cold hardy. Your 401k, I mean, it's all transfer of wealth. Everything that's in these quote unquote synthetic markets is complete wealth transfer, and all the VC guys, they're taking your money. I got out of the markets in 08 and or 07, right before the crash, by the providence of God, by the grace of God, not because I'm smart or anything. And I knew that I wasn't going to. Lone Star just texted me. I guess he doesn't know I'm live. He just texted me about my sheep. We don't have the sheep anymore, Lone Star, if you jump on here. Okay. That's exactly why they push all of it, because they want to create the illusion that you have the ability to create and retain wealth. And they want your money. So they're going to let you, it's a synthetic derivative of a derivative, and then they do fractional banking, right? And now, if anybody that pays attention to this kind of stuff, they've eliminated the fractional reserves. There's a zero, literally, like, it was bad enough that it was a fractional reserve, so it wasn't even real. And a lot of people talk about, a lot of people talk about the Great Depression and what's potentially coming and whatnot. And what I remind people is the thing that differentiates us from the Great Depression and is there was a gold standard. That was pre-Bretton Woods, that was pre-65. So and as long as it took to bounce back from the Great Depression and all of the socialist, communist, FDR junk that idiot fool did, we could bounce back because we had a gold standard. And all of these guys in the District of Criminals, right? They all sold us up the river. And I don't care who your flavor is, Pepsi or Coke. They are all in it to win it. And it has nothing to do with you. They just want to take your money. And whether it's the MAGA jabs or the other version of the same thing, and I don't want to go in too much here on the GooTubes because they'll throttle the bricks out of us, because that's what they always do. So that's why you have to speak in like cryptic whatever. But and I would love to, Al, how you doing, Al? I would love to live stream on Odyssey, but I just haven't got it to work right yet. So yeah, as far as the other thing about investing, whether it's a food 401k, and this is what me and my friend that's becoming a beekeeper, it's about autonomy, right? And it's about taking control of your finances, right? And taking control of your finances has as much to do with how you're going to generate revenue and how you're going to generate income for yourself and your family, as much as it is all the other stuff, because they're restricting the options that we have. And who are they? You say they. Who are they? There are two types of people in this world. There are those that want to be left alone, and there are those that just won't leave them alone, and that's who they are. And they are few, and they are powerful, and they have a king that rules and reigns over them, and he's the prince and the power of the air. So there you go. So buy dirt. No, our cows' hooves do not get trimmed. And I did watch a video, and somebody got their cows' hooves trimmed. I think it might have been Cog Hill, and I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, we don't trim our cows. They're not pets; they're food. But no, but we do have Longhorn, and there are reasons we have Longhorn. You do not have to trim their hooves, but we have lots of rancher friends, and we have friends that raise black Angus and red Herefords and all this stuff. And yeah, I've never heard of anybody trimming their cows' hooves. Not hating y'all, just never heard of it. Mm. Yeah, even this whole 5G thing is all, yeah, it's bad. But whatever, you know, we're just going to, I do believe, here's the other, there's a blessing and a curse with all of this, as disgusting as YouTube is, right? It's just, okay, look at it this way. It's just like the printing. It's just like the printing press. The last greatest invention before the internet, I would say, was the printing press, right? With movable type. And so they were able to inexpensively and rapidly reproduce the Bible, right? And we see the impact that made. Now, just as easy as they could reproduce the Bible, they could reproduce occultic books, they could reproduce propaganda, right? So there was an evil method to it, but God used it for good. God's using this panopticon this panopticon control grid that they keep ratcheting down on us as soon as they integrate all the 5G stuff. It's going to be super. There will be a cyber event this year. Okay, it's going to be the cyber. It's going to be the cyber 911. All right, it's going to say it, and that was an inside job, and this one's going to be an inside job too. And so just be ready for that. And there goes the YouTube channel, but whatever. Show cows. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we were talking about 401k, we're talking about cuttings, we're talking about the website. We're gonna have honey available. That's super, super cool. And I don't think they're gonna take the electric grid down, because it is their means and method of total control. Like, I don't think CNN and all the other state propaganda distribution and the programming, the programming is not going to go down. If the programming went down, people would wake up from their witchcraft. Those that are bewitched by the Black Mirror, they would, they might take a while, but they would wake up from their hypnosis, and they do not want that to happen. They need that control, and Satan needs that control. So I do not see the power going out. I see rolling blackouts. They're going to green us. We're going to get so green that they're going to steal power from us and do all that nonsense. We have a couple other really cool things going on the homestead. We're putting in propane, and we're going to put in a Generac. So we're just a little bit more sustainable from a power standpoint. I am completely and totally, utterly disenchanted with solar as a viable option. Solar is great on a very small scale, absolutely. But for those of you that don't know and haven't been following us, I had an entire 23 panel solar system basically given to me with the inverter, whole shoot and match and everything. And it wasn't worth $5, and it was going to cost me, and it wasn't that old, and it was going to cost me $12,000 to install it, and it was already antiquated, and it wasn't going to do that much, and it was going to make my roof leak, and and solar is bogus. Solar's bogus. And that's why you need this crazy battery wall and all this stuff. And it's just bogus. Unless you're willing to reduce your power consumption to like caveman status, it's bogus. Can you go all archaic and whatnot? And yeah, and you can. And you know, when it comes to like being like off grid and all that stuff, it's just like with a diesel powered tractor. It's my opinion that you can exponentially do so much more with the tractor and the diesel and with the power than you can without it. So you fully utilize it until you don't have it. Because you're going to be that much further ahead of the game if it does go completely out or whatever. I mean, God bless all those people that are totally off grid and, and can live on like, 12 kilowatts a day and all that cool stuff. And they're awesome and I commend them for that. That's not us yet. Um, but solar, as far as ROI, is bogus. If you're going to try to do any kind of solar system, if you're going to try to do any kind of solar system, your return on investment, and then you got the goober man like subsidizing it, jacking the price up. So, and then you got Tesla and all his nonsense. But although hopefully I will be installing a Tesla roof next year, but not here. Yeah, Tesla roof on this house with a power wall, 90 grand. And I forget the output, 90 grand. That's bogus. You ain't ever going to get that back. I didn't hear about upstate New York. I did hear about California outlawing gas generators. How anybody will stay in that state is, unless you're trapped. I get it. Prison planet. Like I get it if you're trapped or you're literally in prison in that state. I understand why you don't move. But if you can move and you stay in California, well, I see the train a coming. I just got run over by the train. Well, dude, we've been seeing this train coming for like 20 years. So you can't complain about the metal wheels that cut your legs off from the train. If you're, you could have got off the track. You know what I mean? Still America, still a little bit of freedom. You don't. You don't, your ability to move isn't based on your credit score, your social credit score yet. All right. What we saw in the water was undetermined. All right. This thing was moving so quickly in a perfectly smooth linear line. We saw this thing twice and we didn't know we had it. We got it on video, right? We did not know we got it on video. And on the video, when we tried to zoom in on it, it made it real grainy and crummy. But I was like, is that a drug sub or whatever? But these drug subs go super slow. This thing, there's a way that I could, if I was smart enough, there's a formulation. You take your shutter speed and then you measure it and you could figure out how fast it was going. But I mean, it was going like cigarette boat status underwater. So I would say it was easily going 90 to 100 miles an hour underwater. And it was dark and I have absolutely no idea what it was. And our neighbor that goes to South Padre a lot, he said it was some kind of fish. And then when I looked that up, I'm like, oh, no, that wasn't no fish, man. That wasn't no fish, dude. I don't know what it was. It was an unidentified submersible something or other. And yeah, not sure. Completely not sure, but we do have it on video. And it's very interesting. And yeah, so there you go. No idea. I threw it on there to see if anybody could help a brother out. Chris Ovard knows. Ask him. He knows what it was. Okay. Yeah, that's where we were. As the crow flies, we were. When you come into South Padre, and you're coming over the bridge and you look to your right, you can see the Tesla stuff. I mean, you can see the rockets right there. So I believe in a straight line, I believe it's 6 miles from there. Now you got to drive down to Brownsville and all the way around to get to it. So it takes you an hour. But as the crow flies, it's 6 miles from there. And if you could get to the end of South Padre and just go across that little channel, you're literally right there. So I mean, where we saw it was like probably 4 miles from where the rockets are. And it was interesting. There's this nice little house, and it's got a Tesla roof. I'm pretty sure it's probably Elon's crash pad when he goes down there. At least the part that you can see above ground. There could be a very large infrastructure below ground that you can't see. Very quaint little house. Interesting. Yeah, he might be opening some portals. That kind of stuff absolutely wouldn't surprise me. It's hilarious how people want to like point to that guy even after he said all the summoning the demon and the Neuralink, and we got it. He wants to plug us into the net and all that stuff. And if you can't beat him, join him. Wild stuff. Elon for selection 2024. You heard it here. Probably not first. Somebody else has probably already said it, but there, I said it. Even though everybody says he won't run, I'm telling you, he's going to run. Back when they had very little things on the shelves, my milk guy had all of them. Yeah, I believe that's why. I believe that's why food items are going to become a legitimate currency, because it's real and the supply chain is going to be super jacked up. If you do a little research on Elon Musk, his parents are emerald miners. Just like Bill Gates' parents were super connected, and Planned Parenthood and all that stuff. And Bill Gates was put in place to do what he did, and he stole the software and all that stuff. And now he's the doctor of the world, And I just keep saying stupid stuff that's going to get us throttled. But yes, that's what I was referring to. Because does a class, or by a raise of hands, does anybody else know of a certain president? Maybe I don't want to get my dates mixed up, but it was there was somebody else that was Time Man of the Year, and after he was Time Man of the Year, it came out that he was kind of like a totalitarian dictator, and he like eradicated a certain group of people. But he was a Time Man of the Year in America. And then it just so happened that he became a totalitarian dictator, and he killed 6 or 7 or 8 million people because of their ethnicity. How do you recommend prepping for someone who doesn't even have an acre? Do what you can with what you have, where you're at, get the knowledge, and do whatever you can to get some dirt, whether you're leasing it or borrowing it. Greg Judy did a lot on other people's property. So it's always a viable option. And so if you have the sweat equity and you can invest it into somebody else's property, you don't know unless you try, and you have to ask people. And a lot of times you ask people and they'll be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. No problem. So you just have to be creative. Yeah, you have to be creative. Yeah, and obviously pray, seek the Lord, and He'll direct your path, guide your steps. He'll provide, and there's always a remnant, and He always provides for His remnant. And I was reading in Psalms today, just writing down all the verses of imprecatory prayer, praying against. A lot of people misapply scripture all the time. And we're supposed to pray for our leaders. It says pray that you dwell in peace, right? You're praying that they will do right so that you can dwell in peace. I mean, a de facto, a king or lead, and that's the other thing. People conflate kings and presidents all the time, which are, we live in a supposed democratic republic, and these of, by, and for the people. This person is not a king by the strictest or the loosest definition. And then people want to, where you Pharaoh, and all. I'm like, dude, like context and like reality and history, like you can't misapply that. But you know, we're supposed to pray for them to have the rule with us that we dwell in peace. What's that mean? That they leave us alone. Like I said, there are those that want to be left alone, and then there are they that just won't leave them alone. And you know what? When you won't leave those that want to be left alone, you are de facto, right? You are outside of your jurisdiction, and God will still use you, right? But you are de facto, and you're outside of your jurisdiction, and you're abomination to God. And God will, when he's done with you, he's going to destroy you. That's another interesting thing. It doesn't say, oh, pray that they'll be saved. It doesn't say that. I don't see that anywhere in scripture. Just like it says, same reason Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? What's that? Jurisdiction. You render unto Caesar what is due him. You know what? You know what that coin said? Caesar's God. Give me a coin. Let me see your coin. Give me a coin. What did it say on the coin? Caesar's God. Oh, so you think that Jesus was cool with everybody worshiping Caesar? No, context and history. Read a book, y'all. Read a book. Start with the Bible. That helps. Read a book. Context, history. Okay? Context, like Romans 13. There's context. You know, just like all the passive nonsense, right? There's context. Read the whole Old Testament. You know, if a maiden cries out and you don't help her, you don't defend her, you are negligent, right? Yeah. If a thief breaks through in the night and you got to cap him, you're all set. Why is somebody breaking into your house in the night? You know, there are illustrations in scripture. You certainly can defend yourself, right? You can certainly defend your family. You can certainly defend your stuff. Thou shalt not steal, right? What's that absolutely infer? Ownership. If you can steal something, that means somebody else absolutely owns it. So there is personal property rights, right? It's not all this, oh, they had all things common, and it was one big hippie commune. No, wrong. Read the context. Okay, read the rest. Let them that steal no more, right? But rather let them work that they can have to give, right? Yeah, you need to work so that you can give. It's not, you know, the Christian world is not some hippie commune, all right? So I didn't know we were going to get into Bible study, but there you go. How do we love those enemies? I mean, you can pray that God will have mercy on them. I pray what the Psalm says, you know. God's going to judge righteous judgment. And there, you know, you want to slaughter a bunch of unborn kids. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, and I'm not saying that God can't save those people, he can. But a lot of that Christianese shenanigans is all, you know, it's just like, it's exactly like this, right? It's exactly like this. Okay, class, illustration. Right? In God we trust. Does anybody know when that was put on our currency? I want to say 56, right? That is Christianese, right? That's Americana Christianity. In God we trust. And then you see people that pick that up and run with it that are real Christians. But that's propaganda. That's propaganda. I wish I had a $1 bill with the all-seeing eye on it and all that Illuminati junk. And then you have these guys like David Barton, and they'll tell you the eagle with the arrows, and this was all this Christian stuff. It totally wasn't, none of it was Christian. And that Illuminati seal certainly isn't Christian. And Thomas Jefferson absolutely wasn't a Christian. He was like a Christianized Gnostic, but he certainly was not a Christian. And Thomas Jefferson said a lot of great stuff, and I think a lot of stuff that he said was good, but he certainly was not a Christian. Okay. Herbal medicines, you know, that's why I'm talking about the elderberry cuttings. You know, herbal medicine is going to be huge. You know, we're going to have a new product we had a company reach out to us called the Jace case, and it's going to be for our pantry, but it's some pharmaceutical medicines that are shelf stable, and you keep them in a little go pack, and you have them for when you need them. And it's all run by doctors, and they give you a prescription and they ship it to you. So we're going to be adding that to they're going to be adding it to the channel. It's all Masonic symbolism. It is the Pledge of Allegiance. It's I pledge allegiance to the flag, and all the patriotic propaganda around the military industrial complex. I'm not saying that there's not good people in the military. I'm not saying that there's not good people in the military now. I'm not saying I know you text me, and that's why I was Lone Star. I'm not saying there's not good people in the military, because there are. It's compartmentalization. It's plausible deniability. It's push the red button. I didn't know. I just pushed the red button. That's my job. They compartmentalize it, and they manipulate these people through this blind patriotism. And I pledge allegiance to the flag. That was written by a socialist. That's common history. Look it up. It was written by a socialist, right? And they added under God. They added that. That Pledge of Allegiance was completely socialistic, communistic back in the whenever. That was probably in the 50s as well. It didn't have under God in it. And then all of a sudden, it's like this Christian, American, godly thing to pledge allegiance to a flag, to a piece of. None of the founding fathers, the Christian ones and the non-Christian ones, the Christian ones said no king but Jesus. They said no king but Jesus, not this flag and America and all this stuff. No way. No way. It's manipulation. We've been programmed and propagandized for, the government propaganda camps. Probably 90% of the people watching went to government propaganda camps, just like me. And we have been manipulated and lied to. And, the Civil War was about slavery. Yeah, right. It was about the Rothschilds. It was about the money. It was about control. And it was about pitting the North against the South, one, to destroy the Baptist revivals of the South, right? While that was going on, Shubal Stearns and then all those churches being planted in the Bible Belt. It was to completely stifle and destroy that. You're telling me that brother killed brother because of slavery when Abraham Lincoln wrote his own 13th Amendment and said, yeah, I'm super cool with y'all keeping slaves. I mean, just read a book. DeLong wrote The Real History of Abraham Lincoln. Read that one. There's some real interesting stuff in that one. The victors do write the history books, and they completely rewrite it. We're watching stuff getting rewritten in real time right in front of our face, right? And we're watching all this stuff getting censored and taken down. That's no different than the books that the Catholics and the Jesuits that they burned. When they took over the village, they burned all the writings. They burned it because they knew that it was powerful and people would read it and they would understand. No, you burn it, or it's in the Vatican Library. They got it. Well, I know a ton of people leaving the military right now because of the medical procedure, because they just, and here's the really crazy thing, and I have great friends in the military, and I have a really good friend that's leaving the military as we speak, right? But look, they've been giving you that anthrax junk and all that stuff for a very long time. And I mean, I don't understand why you didn't decide, and a lot of it's just education. People didn't know, man, and they just thought, they thought the cultures in the petri dishes on the, aborted baby stuff, and you put the mercury in it and then you shoot it in your arm. They thought that stuff was like legit, and it's just not. It's why I'm halfway retarded. My kids never had that stuff, and they're never gonna have that stuff. And what I'm fascinated about, I guess, while I'm ranting, is all these Christians that still facilitate all this worldly entertainment, and you're looking at the most worldly entertainment guy. You're looking at the guy that watched every stinking rotten, filthy, from rated G to rated whatever Hollywood movie from 1992 to 2000, probably at least 11, right? And Christians want to keep consuming this stuff. And then they want to act like, well, well, you got to separate the artist, you got to separate the Hollywood actor and his opinion from the entertainment and the veg out stuff. You got to separate the professional athlete, the Mao Zedong worshiper, King James, and all these other socialist, communist billionaires. Bunch of stinking fake turds. You kidding me? And Christians will still worship these idiots. And these idiots will feed professing Christians their propaganda. And Christian parents will let their children dine on the dung. Unbelievable. Unreal. I cannot, I will not, I refuse to participate. Mm. Yeah. All this new medical whatever is nuts. All this new medical stuff is nuts. And they are literally just um, rewriting everything, and they're manipulating, the VA double X stuff before was all emotional manipulation. When you refuse to do that, like, oh, blah, 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 and all your kids are going to die. None of them. None of them. Oh, polio's real. Nobody's saying polio isn't real. Man, just read a little bit on the Salk Institute and that guy. Hey, read what that guy wrote before he died. Read the last book that guy wrote before he died, and read what his son wrote in the forward of that book. Those guys were complete and total eugenic scumbags. Total eugenic scumbags. Total eugenics. Read what they wrote. I mean, they took the time, they wrote it down, and people printed it in a book, and it still exists. All of them are why there's so much cancer, genetic mutation and manipulation and all that stuff. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I'm very familiar with all the manipulation, man. It's crazy. Mm. Yeah, Disney World. Total bunch of pedophiles. It's totally satanic. It's totally a bunch of pedophiles, and it's all witchcraft. It's total witchcraft. And then there's all the like pedo stuff that's embedded in it. The RFK Jr.'s most recent book on the doctor is very enlightening. And I mean, this stuff's starting to go mainstream. Even Glenn Beck exposing some of the um, the VA double X stuff that they had the jab before the outbreak. Which, there you go. How does that work with the storyline? That doesn't work. That really kind of goofs everything all up. Oh yeah, I mean, well, just now Disney's just straight up demonic in your face. They don't even. That's the strangest thing now is nobody's trying to hide anything. They're just going to straight up do it right in front of you, right in your face. I mean, just look at the just regular society and the way they act and dress and everything else. I mean, women go outside in their underbritches, y'all, like literally, and like now all of a sudden it's socially acceptable to just walk outside in your underbritches. You used to be that used to be not even socially acceptable. It used to be a crime, and I'm for liberty of conscience. I don't think you can legislate morality. Um, I think you have to. It's by the dictates of your own conscience. So I'm not a dominionist. I don't believe that there's any way that we can legislate righteousness. But how about some common decency, right? How about some common sense? And how about you can't walk outside in your underwear, all right? And and I don't even want to get going on like the morbidly obese and overweight people, right? I'm not even going to get on that, but Farmer Brad, what's up? I know about germ theory and terrain theory, and I get both sides of it. I know for a fact that when we get whatever's creeping around, it goes through the whole house. And if terrain theory, that's the only thing that makes me question terrain theory, because everybody's immune system in the house, it makes a very difficult case to say that everybody's immune system in the house is all compromised at the same time, and then you pass that germ around. So that's why I'm not, just from experiential, what I can see and experience, I'm not sold on the Andrew Kaufman thing and terrain theory versus germ theory all the way. And maybe I don't know all about it all the way, so that might be why. But I'm still, I can perceive what they're recognizing as germ theory, and I can perceive it as being relatively accurate. Now, terrain theory might have an explanation for it, and I probably just don't know about it. And you know, eat right, eat whole foods, don't eat processed sugar, and unplug from the medical industrial complex. We're going to have to, they weaponized the medical industrial complex a long time ago. That's why they want everybody on Medicaid and Medicare, because everybody worships doctors. And I got to go to my doctor tomorrow. I'm going to look at my bunion. Once you're over 70, like I'm pretty convinced that everybody over 70 literally goes to the doctor every day, and they worship these doctors. Now you have good Christian people, and they're getting the double double, just like sheep going to the slaughter. And these are people with a lifetime of wisdom, and they are so indoctrinated, and they'll bow at the foot of the medical industrial complex. Fascinating. I can't get over it. I'm big bone. Oh, Brad, you thought I was saying you were fat? No, buddy. the No, the fam, they're out getting stuff for a big project. We need to increase our inventory for the website, so we're going to put some big shelving. They want to steal my shop out here, and they want to put a door here in the living room to go out to the shop. But until we do that, we're going to build a large shop out next to the sawmill. But it's going to take a while. So we're putting some shelving units in the kitchen, and that's where we're going to put our inventory. They're adding new candle sizes, so we're going to put some different candles. We're adding honey, so we just need some more storage, and we want to keep up we want to try to have more inventory so that there's less time between ships, man. Sometimes it just takes us forever to ship stuff because we're just back and forth. We're trying to make stuff available, and the supply side, on time, whatever, used to work, and it don't work anymore, and it'll never work again. And if California has their way, like no truck driver will ever ship anything out of Cali. Cali, why can't we just like, first off, they need to redirect all that junk to our ports down here. We'll ship it off and spread it around. All right. They just need to go. Let them be their own thing and they can have a great time. There's all kind of shortages. There's all these container shortages. I have a customer that's what he does, international shipping. He's like, I can't find it. But the main reason why he can't find shipping containers is they're all on the barges floating around doing laps in the ocean, because a lot of this stuff is fabricated. And what California has done, once again, why do we keep, and you could be right, left, or whatever, and please break free from that paradigm. I mean, if the MAGA if the MAGA emergency authorization hasn't shown you anything, they're all in it together. They're all in it together. Whatever flavor, all right? It's a slightly different twist on the same story. Two wings of the same foul bird, all right? Need I remind anybody of who authorized that thing, all right? But yeah, I mean, if if the district of criminals could do anything, if we could just jettison Cali and maybe a couple of those northeastern states, one in particular that I can think of that I'm fond of, that one particular small state that they could just jettison and it could become its own whatever dystopian socialistic hellscape. What do you want to call it? Where is the super chat? Man, we haven't gotten a super chat in multiple decades. That's okay. I'm not complaining. I appreciate everybody supporting the website, supporting the boys. They have a legitimate business now. Their mill, they're doing, they're generating legitimate income. James just bought a truck. He won't be able to drive for like 2 more years. He's fixing it up, but they have a legitimate business, and it's awesome. And it's only because of our subscribers. We greatly appreciate it. And I wish that there was a viable way. I wish that there was a viable way that we could continue to do this without the GooTubes. I've always kind of hated and despised because I knew the infrastructure. Even when we started, I knew the CIA, the Panopticon, and I understood all the social engineering and everything. I'm still thankful that the vehicle's available, and it won't be. And if you're going to be super honest and direct, I mean, if we were really not self-censoring, we are going to be making a new T-shirt for the website. It's going to be Make Orwell Fiction Again, for anybody that's familiar with the book 1984, the dystopian prophetic playbook for 2021. Make Orwell Fiction Again. That T-shirt should be on the website soon. So we have to, like it says in 1984, I mean, we have to newspeak, in Inksoft, and we have to, speak with the new speak. So peace is war, right? War is peace, and all that good stuff. Good luck with the quail, Brad. We did the quail real heavy, and not saying it's not viable. We had a lot of success with the quail and hatching them out. We just went real heavy with the Muscovy ducks and chickens, and that's working well for us. The quail would just always kind of escape on us at times, and that was yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. Why can't they pick like real looking human beings. That's I mean, Zuckerberg is he's put in place to mock us. If anybody doesn't look more like an android than Zuckerberg, I mean, come on. That guy talks and acts and looks like a straight up android. And who knows? I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, their tech is very much more advanced than what they'll let us use. So who knows? Who even knows if that dude's a real human being? Maybe he's a humanized mouse. What does that mean? Humanized mouse. Junior, how you doing, Junior? Uh-huh. Huh?
Scab on my nose.
You got a scab on your nose?
It does hurt when you pull them off. You know, somehow you pull them off. That hurts.
We're preparing for what we can. I mean, it's like all the people that talk about like prepare your canning shelves for an earthquake. I mean, and they're taking Matthew 24 and they're just assuming that there's going to be earthquakes everywhere, which I'm not saying there won't be. I mean, I've been lots of places in weird places and there's been earthquakes, 2 point whatever. But I don't think that that's what that scripture, that there's just going to be random earthquakes everywhere. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but that's the main reason why I'm big on the mulberries, because mulberries are huge fodder, big time fodder. The ducks love the mulberry leaves. The chicken loves the mulberry leaves. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 different variety of mulberry. And we have giant mulberry and all different. So I'm big mulberry. I'm grow your animal feed, what they call tree hay. The cows can eat the mulberry leaves. It's that's the way they used to do it. Tree silage. They used to, what they call it, tree grazing or whatever. That's the way they used to do it. So we don't still have our sheep. They would just get out and some of them would randomly die, just kind of like the goats, real like all of a sudden. And they would get out and they would tear up my young mulberry trees. So eventually, I think we just ended up eating. We butchered and ate the last one, but they just periodically, systematically died. When they went on the road trip, when Texas Mom and the boys went on their road trip, their North American tour, they got out and then one of them somehow randomly died. Everything was cool. One of them randomly died while they was gone, and yeah, we don't still have our sheep. I really like the sheep if we could keep them in. I like them better than goats, but that's why we're doing the Muscovy. The conversion, the feed to meat ratio is incredible. The taste is incredible. Very easy to dispatch. You can dispatch them one at a time, and it's just MREs, man. Meals ready to eat. Boom, like that. So you don't have to worry about freezing nothing. And our predator, everything is straight as the current is relatively predator proof. We haven't been losing any birds. So that's going really good for us right now. So ducks and chickens is our thing. That's what we're rolling with. Oh, well, and the longhorn and the cows. We butchered our first cow and it's awesome. So I think we got 200 or 300 pounds off of that. And we're probably going to personally butcher our next cow. We're going to do it ourselves. Our cows are at a ranch. There aren't any mulberry trees currently at the ranch. There will be. I just haven't gotten around to it. Because what you have to do is you have to plant them, cage them up until they're big enough to survive. Because the cows, they love the mulberries, man. They will mow them down. And if you're going to grow mulberries for fodder for like cows, it's better to get a weeping mulberry, or which I got World's Best. I have several. I have Jan's Best and World's Best, which are dwarf mulberry trees, and they're the best. So I'm thinking about growing them out pretty big into pots and then taking them to the ranch, planting them, because if they're relatively well established, and you plant them and just protect them for a year, the next year they're going to grow so fast that the cows just won't be able to kill them. We consume a lot of beef. I know everybody thinks we're vegans and whatnot because we do a lot of plant-based, but the absolute fact of the matter is God created the herbivore to convert the salad into protein packed, mineral packed food for us. So we obviously, if you don't eat, if you're going to be all vegan, you're going to have to heavily supplement, or you're going to have problems with your teeth, you're going to have problems with your skin, you're going to feel sick, and just the vegan thing. And I was fruitarian for a year, and it was great. I mean, it felt good, but it's not sustainable long term. You need one guy, I think he's Tristan Haggard. He's on, I think he might still be on YouTube. He's great on all the anti-vegan stuff because he slams them because it's the vegan agenda is the Gates, eat bugs and own nothing and you'll love it. They want us to eat bugs, y'all. Bugs. Oh, it's not healthy to eat a cow. Here, eat this black fly larvae. Yeah, you first, Gil. You first, Gil. How many acres do we manage? We're on 5.5. Currently, we only utilize about 2 acres here. We now have some bees on the back 40 here, which is kind of cool. We have a little field back there. Then we have a 25 acre ranch with our cows and our horses that has about 14 acres of pasture. And then we have Legacy Farm. We're gonna bring you all up to speed on Legacy Farm. We haven't done anything because of Matt's shoulder and everything else that's going on. We haven't even started doing anything with Legacy Farm. That's 20 acres with a kind of like an old homestead we're going to restore and a creek. So it's got its own water and all that good stuff. And definitely if you're going to do the dairy, I hope it's A2A2 because if it's not A2A2, you're probably not, you're going to have problems if you try consuming too much dairy because it's just, if it's not A2A2, it's really honestly not good for you. That's just my opinion. Just from the stuff I read and the things that we experience, we used to have 2 dairy cows, but they were A2A2. At least one of them was. Cow turnaround from start to finish. Well, we like to butcher them younger. So 2 years max. But sometimes, ours are just grass fed. We don't pump them full of corn and all that stuff. I mean, it's way faster if you pump them full of stuff. But if you're just going to grass feed them, probably 2 years. And in 2 years, you're only going to get 300 to 400 pounds of meat. It's not going to be some 800 or 900 pound deal. But you're only going to get that with these ephemeral Angus and whatnot, and these Charolais and all these genetic mutants. And you got to pump them full of antibiotics or they're just not going to make it. They're not going to make it. They're a bunch of tenderfoots and it's all great and yummy and whatnot, but unless you pump them full of antibiotics, they're not going to make it. And if you really want them to be big, old, and fat and produce and marbleize and all that stuff, you're going to have to pump them full of GMO something or other. And it's, and that's going to cost, that's why they're monkey oil stuff, because they want it all to cost a fortune. They do not want us to be able to sustain ourselves. Hence the hyperinflation. That's why they're hyperinflating everything. Great, A2A2 jersey. All right, that's going to be your best option for the dairy. Soylent Green is people. It's people. And they're already talking about doing that stuff, like biodegradable pods, and they're going to bury us, right? And the eugenic people, you're going to be able to grow your baby in your living room in an organic pod, after you select like its eye color and its cis transgender, and all that stuff. Great. Wow, you had to buy an A2 from North Carolina to southern Mississippi. Woo, that's a haul. A2 is a genetic marker, and what they found is that the A2 milk is readily digestibly, the proteins are readily digestibly available. So you don't have like lactose intolerance with an A2. All right, y'all. Wow, 80 minutes. I'm gonna sign off, I think. If I keep yakking. I appreciate everybody hanging out, chilling, the conversation, and y'all just let me rant. That's always nice. But it looks like we're going to be able to live stream. Looks like we're going to be able to access and manage our website. So it's super, super. If you had to choose again, would you still choose Texas in a heartbeat 1,000 times over? 1,000 times over. Absolutely. We've made a lot of good decisions in life. And by the grace of God and by the direction of God. And choosing Texas was one of them. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And, I don't really like Abbott. I don't really vote, to be super honest. But this Don Huffines guy Lone Star, Don Huffines seems legit. Don't know. What he says is super legit. He's going to abolish property tax, all right? He's my man. He wants to abolish abortion, and he'll even use that kind of language. And he has not been VA double X'd, and he's not going to, and he's going to make sure that there's no mandate. Don Huffines, all right? I never stump for anybody, but the guy says absolutely everything right. Everything. So we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, there's a bunch of them that talk out of both sides of their mouths. And at least this guy says everything right. So we'll see. Don Huffines. So if any of y'all are in Texas, think about it. Maybe he'll get assassinated. I don't know. Usually when you're that good, you get Ross Perot. Like, well, look, Ross, it looks like you're going to win. So if you win, we're going to kill your family. So that's what happened to Ross Perot. For y'all, we're going to get in our HUD, fix the engine. All right. So that's what happened to Ross Perot, y'all. So I realize it's a governor and it's not a, DeSantis is doing a lot of really cool stuff. I don't trust that guy at all, but he's doing a lot better than Wheels, than Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is he does just enough right, and he does a lot of idiot neocon, New World Order stuff too, all at the same time. I didn't know that Don was friends with Ron Paul. That's interesting. But so far, super legit. I forget how I stumbled across the guy, I think on Instagram. And I'm like, who is this guy? What is this? And so, all right, y'all. Yeah, no Beto. No O'Malley, McGillicuddy, no Irish guy that wants to act like he's Juan Beto or whatever. What a stinking fake. Molon Libe, Beto. All right, y'all. Have a good night.